Angela in Ohio, you're our final caller of the day. What have you got for us, Angela?
Hello, how are you?
Good. What's on your mind today, my friend?
My question is on divorce.
Okay.
I am divorced. I'm seeing a gentleman, but he does not want to marry me now because I am divorced. And he said it would be adultery. And I want to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, well, the same passage that says it's adultery, known as the Sermon on the Mount, known as the same passage where Jesus says, cut off your hand and pluck out your eye and be perfect like God. And it also, in the same sermon, literally says, give money to whoever asks of you and do not resist an evil person. So I just want him to think about that. If he truly loves you, and this Bible passage has been plaguing him to where he believes he cannot marry you, I want him to understand the context of Matthew 5. Now, first of all, I'm going to back up and say this, and I want him to hear this. Maybe you can play it back for him. But even in the Old Testament, there were provisions for divorce. Even under the law, there were provisions for divorce. And those provisions included things like when you were not receiving love, when you were not receiving food, when you were not receiving intimacy, when you were not receiving shelter, when there was neglect and abuse. Those were provisions in the Old Testament law for divorce. So, first of all, let's lay that groundwork. Now, secondly, back to the Sermon on the Mount. Why would Jesus show this strict standard to the people asking him about divorce? Well, the strict standard is everywhere. It's all over Matthew 5. It's all over Matthew 6. And the strict standard starts, get this, it starts in Matthew 5, verse 17. In Matthew 5:17, he brings up the topic of the law, and he's taking the law and he's amplifying it. That's why he says things like, you have heard it said, don't commit murder. But I tell you, if you get angry with someone, it is the same as killing them. You have heard it said, don't commit adultery. But I say to you, don't even look at a person with lust. If you do, it's the same as sleeping with them. And then he goes on to tell them in Matthew 6 and 7, he says, hey, you've been fasting, but it's been public. I want you to hide your fasting. Put some lotion on your face, would you? Hide your fasting. Don't tell anybody. Oh, hey, you've been doing some praying? That's fantastic, but it's been public prayer. I want you to go into a closet and hide your prayer. Oh, you've been giving money, donations? That's great, but I want you to give in secret now. Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Why is Jesus doing this? He's calling them all hypocrites. And the standard is impossible in Matthew 5 and 6. That's what I'm saying. The Sermon on the Mount kills every single one of us. So you can turn to this man who no doubt loves you and wanted to marry you perhaps, but he's hesitant and he's unsure. And you can lovingly ask, or maybe I'll just ask him, hey, you know what? You're worried about being in adultery. Well, the same passage, I could ask you, have you chopped off your hand in fighting sin? Have you plucked out your eye in fighting sin? Are you able to be perfect like God is perfect? Have you given money to everybody who asks of you without hesitation? When people try to beat you up or harm you or your family, do you turn the other cheek and say, have at it? Do you see? This standard is impossible. And Jesus is taking the law, he's raising the bar, and he's telling everybody, you're dead. You have no hope under Moses, and you need Jesus instead. Now, obviously, if you're in a marriage that's rough, do whatever you can to preserve it. Do whatever you can to save it. But nobody should be using the Sermon on the Mount to condemn divorced Christians. Divorced believers are not second-class citizens in the family of God. And, there's false teaching going around where they're trying to get people to go back to their spouses when their spouses don't even want them. No, we live every day in the present. No matter what happened, we are forgiven, righteous, holy, blameless, and free.